The Fort Lauderdale Eldercare channel is brought to you by Sidney Shugani and the great folks of Right at Home Fort Lauderdale. Today's guest is attorney George Aslanian from the estate planning and elder law firm of Aslanian.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Fort Lauderdale Eldercare channel. I'm Sidney Shugani, your host, and today I have with me Mr. George Aslanian from the prestigious law firm Aslanian, a local eldercare attorney and law firm. Welcome, George.
Thank you. Good to be here.
It's great to have you. I look forward to our discussion to help our viewers understand what elder law attorneys do.
Happy to have the opportunity, thanks.
Let's get started. So how long has your law firm been in business?
Well, I've been practicing in Florida since 1980, about 36 years. Started my firm in 1987, and it really has only been the last 6 years or so that we've developed kind of an emphasis in elder law. We kind of followed the aging of our clientele, that we've been fortunate to have them for a long time. And it entails a lot. Basically, we help them manage changes in their life that are connected to the age. Income flows change, their finances, healthcare needs housing. It's pretty varied practice.
Wow, that's a lot. Could you describe to our audience the market area served by your law firm? Is it just Broward County, multiple counties, or the entire state?
Most of our practice in this area centers around the Tri-County area, Miami-Dade, Broward, Palm Beach County. Having said that, we work with lawyers and clients from other states that are moving into the state of Florida that need help. We work with family members and relatives throughout the state, throughout the country to serve our clients. But most of our clients are connections to the nursing homes, mostly located in the Tri-County area.
Okay. So if I had someone call me from another state, or someone called you from another state, would you be able to help them? Maybe refer them to a fellow lawyer in another state, perhaps?
Well, I could if that need arose. Usually that happens, somebody from this state calling me up saying, I'm moving and they need somebody there. I am a member of the National Association of Elder Law Attorneys, so there's a pool of very good lawyers I could refer to, and I know some lawyers in other states as well.
Okay, very good. Could you please describe your typical client? Is there a profile for them?
I wouldn't describe my clients as typical, but inevitably, many of our clients have similar needs. But the way we approach them and their particular family and personal concerns are all unique. But having said that, to answer the question I know we need to get to, many of our clients come to us because either they or somebody in the family has become or is becoming unable to care for themselves. Could be for any number of reasons, just simply old age. You know, they call it the disease of old age sometimes. Could be loss of memory, cognitive functioning, could be a slip and fall. But they find themselves in a time of need because they're unable to care for themselves. And the longer it goes on, it seems to, sometimes they don't get a hold of us soon enough, or as early as we would like them to. Because what happens is, the longer this goes on, it takes an emotional toll on them, as well as the family and the friends and everybody that's trying to provide care for them. And it also depletes finances and income. So for example, we do a lot of Medicaid planning. And Medicaid will help people pay for skilled nursing facilities if they need it. They will assist with assisted living facility payments and even provide certain services in the home to try to keep somebody in their home while they get the services. Now, the problem, I hate to use that word, but the problem is in order to qualify for those kinds of benefits with Medicaid, you can't have more than $2,000 in countable assets. So many of our clients are, they've been business people their whole lives, and they've worked hard and they've accumulated a certain amount of assets, and they're comfortable. But because of the family dynamics I just described to you, they find that they're spending a lot of money on health care, they're spending a lot of money having somebody take care of somebody in the home, and they're seeing their finances go down, or at least they see on the horizon it could happen. For example, the average nursing home cost in Broward County is about $8,500. I'm not suggesting those aren't good nursing homes. They're very good ones. There are some that are not so good as well, but a very good nursing home could easily cost $12,000 to $15,000 a month for that kind of care. So, assuming you've got a nest egg of 100,000, a couple of 100,000, even more, over a relatively short period of time, if you've got to put somebody in that skilled nursing facility, that money's going to disappear in a hurry. That causes additional stress for the family, because now this person has worked their whole life, they've put this together, they want to maintain their independence, they want to hand something off to their kids and their grandkids, and they're starting to see that maybe it's not going to happen for them. We help them with that scenario, because when they come into us, we can suggest ways and assist them in positioning themselves so they can qualify for those benefits, to help with those expenses, and preserve that money so it honors their intent, and it's not going to be lost in the last years of their life on their personal health care. And again, the most important thing is we honor their intent and their wishes, and obviously we make sure they're taken care of. So that's a long-winded answer to what our quote-unquote typical client looks like.
That's a very good explanation. That would help our viewers so much. That is great.
I hope so.
So, without using actual names, can you think of a particular case and what you had to do for a client and what they had to go through and how you were able to help them?
It's cliche-ish, but we truly do. We treat every client as an individual, and we try to do everything that we could possibly do to help a client in the situation in which they find themselves and in which they come to us. The most recent thing that comes to my mind doesn't really fit within that factual scenario that I just outlined, but it kind of shows you the range of things we do to some extent as well. I was contacted recently by somebody that held the power of attorney. They were the agent for a friend of theirs. My client is really the friend, the principal that needs that help. But I'm contacted by the attorney, in fact, and he told me that his friend, who was really my client, is in the hospital. She's in an end-stage condition, and she needs a will done. And of course, he tells me, well, don't worry, she's sick. I'll give you the information, but I can't rely on that. No lawyer in my position would. So I called her, and it turned out she was very weak. Very well-spoken, very alert, but unfortunately very weak. And all she could say to me on the phone was essentially that, I've discussed it with him, please do what he asks you to do. So I met with him, and what became clear to me was that there was some friction, a personality conflict, or some problem between him and some of the family members who had just left. They were down visiting her, and they took it, I assumed, as their last chance to say goodbye. And just the dynamic of the discussion concerned me, and based on some of the documents I had him bring me, I wasn't so sure that this is really what she had intended. So what I did, that could probably be considered, it wasn't heroic by any means, but it was probably over and above. I prepared several drafts of the will, not just what he told me to do, but I actually went in to see her with 5 different drafts of this will in my possession, thinking I must have hit on every possible scenario, and made an appointment. He was there, but I always meet with my client alone and talk to her, and it turned out from the hospital bed we actually made additional changes to one of the wills that I prepared that came closest. I went back, 2 witnesses and a notary public, and we had her sign that will in her hospital bed. This agent wasn't cut out of the will, but the will was dramatically changed. Unfortunately, she did pass just 2 or 3 days later. There were a lot of phone calls from the out-of-state relatives, out-of-state lawyers, the agent that initially retained me. But long story short is the client's wishes were honored. Her property went exactly as she wanted it to go. And the family, her property passed as she intended. The family didn't get embroiled in any litigation, loss of additional attorney's fees and costs in that regard. So, that's an example of the kind of work we do for our clients. She's the most important thing, and that's, I felt good about doing what she wanted done.
That is certainly going above. I mean, at the hospital bed, that's great. I mean,
That's not all that unusual, honestly, but we went back a couple of times to make sure we got it the way she wanted it, and it wasn't always pleasant because of the agent who, people tend to misunderstand. Well, they came to me, why don't I just do what they tell me to do? But I can't do that. But I tried to prepare as best I could so we could get it signed the first time, went back, had it done, and it worked out the way it should have.
wow. I mean, you come across all kinds of scenarios.
Yeah,
I would
and that's why I
imagine.
said it's hard to say, yeah, this is what we did and it was really good. It's hard to say. I mean, this sort of thing happens a lot.
I hear you. Okay. Is there anything else you can tell our audience that your law firm does differently compared to others? And we just went through that, going
yeah.
above and beyond scenario,
Yeah.
and which you really did.
Yeah.
I just wanted to give you another opportunity here.
We don't talk about our competitors often. Fortunately, fortunately or not, I shouldn't say, there's an awful lot of need in this community for lawyers that do what I do. Fortunately, there are a lot of very good lawyers that do this kind of work in this community. You have other people that probably should be doing other things as well. So the most important thing is that you talk to a lawyer that you're comfortable with and that is clearly knowledgeable in what he or she does. What I can say that we are second to none at is we are accessible to our clients and we are responsive to our clients. We have been fortunate that we have maintained clients since I started this practice in 1987 that are still with us. And they remain with us because of, well, I like to think we do quality work, and we do quality work, and because of the connection we have with our clients. So it's a simple thing, but I think it's probably the most important thing.
And indeed it is. Well, George, I have one last question for you.
Good.
Is there anything else you would like to say or share with our audience about your firm? Anything at all that you would like them for them to know, your location, your website, your phone number?
Thank you very much. We're located now on 3rd Avenue, 511 Northeast 3rd Avenue in Fort Lauderdale. We've owned the building there and the property there for 20 years, but we're soon to sell it, so more to come on that. We will soon be launching a new website. We'll have the new address, kind of launch into the elder law thing to some extent. The one thought I could leave people with, I hope, is it is neither ever too early or too late to plan. Obviously we like it when people come to us soon because it gives us a lot more options. But we do mostly what's considered emergency planning, when people find themselves kind of at their wits' end that, oh my God, we've got this coming on the horizon, we need to do something. It's never too late. There's always something that can be done. So I encourage them to do it as soon as possible, but even if you think it's too late, it may not be. And what we do is I take those phone calls and I kind of do a triage. I talk to a client, prospective client on the phone to figure out if I can help them or not. If I can't, I try to tell them where I think they could go to find the help they need. If I can, we schedule an appointment if they want it. And at that point, there will typically be a fee that will be asked for at that time, but based upon the stakes and what we're trying to do for them in the long run, it typically pays off in spades for the client.
For sure.
Yeah.
How many years in advance should they be planning for it?
You know what, that is a tough question. I don't think I've got anybody older than 50 that started, but our clients from 50 to 94. I hate to say it's ever too early. It's always good. But what's important is that you constantly monitor it. When your situation changes, you talk to the lawyer who prepared your estate planning documents. As your family structure changes, people move away, people die, you get mad at the relative. go to the lawyer, have your documents changed, make sure the laws haven't changed or that your documents have accommodated the change in the laws. So it's really never too early.
Gotcha. Well, George, it's been a pleasure, and thank you for your
Likewise.
time. This
Thank
is
you.
great advice. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and expertise with our audience. And we hope that our audience have learned a few things here and can go to Mr. George Aslanian's firm and avail of their real in-depth knowledge on eldercare law. And thank you for tuning to the Eldercare channel of Fort Lauderdale. Thank you, George.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Likewise.